Right now, as you watch this, someone is pulling your strings. They know exactly which buttons to press. They know what makes you angry, what makes you scared, what makes you spend money you don't have on things you don't need. And the worst part? You think these feelings are yours. You think you're in control. But what if I told you that your strongest emotions, the ones that feel most real, most urgent, most you, are manufactured, planted, weaponized? Stay with me, because once you see this, you can't unsee it. Let me tell you about a moment that happens to you almost every single day, and you don't even notice it. You're scrolling through your phone. Relaxed. Maybe a little bored. Then suddenly, you see something that makes your blood pressure spike. A headline. A post. A comment. And just like that, your heart rate changes. Your pupils dilate. Cortisol floods your system. Within 3 seconds, you've gone from calm to combat mode. Here's what they don't want you to know. That reaction? It was engineered. Someone, somewhere, A/B tested thousands of headlines to find the exact combination of words that would hijack your nervous system. They measured the engagement. They tracked the rage clicks. They discovered that your brain has a backdoor, and anger is the master key. But it goes deeper than clickbait. Way deeper. See, your emotional responses are pattern-based. Your brain is essentially a prediction machine, constantly scanning for threats, rewards, and social status. It takes shortcuts to save energy. And those shortcuts? They're laughably easy to exploit once you know they exist. Every authoritarian regime in history understood this. Every cult leader. Every master manipulator. They don't argue with your logic. They don't need to. They go straight for your fear center, your tribal instincts, your desperate need to belong. They make you feel first, think later. And by the time your rational mind catches up, you've already shared the post, bought the product, joined the movement, cut off the friend who disagreed. The scariest part isn't that this happens. It's that it's become industrialized. There are entire teams of psychologists, data scientists, and behavioral economists whose only job is to map your emotional triggers and exploit them for profit. They know that fear spreads faster than facts. That outrage is more viral than nuance. That a threatened identity will open a wallet faster than any rational sales pitch ever could. Think about the last time you made an emotional purchase. The thing you bought at midnight that you regretted by morning. Or the argument you had online with a complete stranger that left you shaking with adrenaline. Or the news story that kept you awake, anxious, doom-scrolling for answers. In every single case, someone benefited from your emotional hijacking. And it wasn't you. There's a room you've never seen. No windows. Just screens everywhere, glowing with numbers, graphs, heat maps tracking human behavior in real time. In this room, they don't call you by your name. You're a data point. A conversion rate. A dopamine delivery system that needs the right stimulus at the right time. And they've figured out your pattern. They know you check your phone within 5 minutes of waking up. They know you're most vulnerable to emotional manipulation between 9 and 11 p.m. when your willpower is depleted. They know that after you've had a stressful day, you're 37% more likely to make an impulse purchase. They've measured it. Optimized it. Weaponized it. But here's where it gets truly sinister. They're not just selling you products anymore. They're selling you emotions themselves. Think about it. When was the last time you felt genuinely calm? Genuinely content? Or has there always been this low-grade anxiety humming in the background, this feeling that you're missing out, falling behind, not enough? That feeling has a name. It's called manufactured discontent. And it's worth trillions of dollars. See, a happy person is a terrible consumer. A content person doesn't refresh their feed every 40 seconds looking for the next hit. A secure person doesn't need external validation through likes and comments and shares. So they can't let you be happy. They can't let you be content. They need you anxious, insecure, and constantly seeking. The formula is brutally simple. First, they show you a version of life you don't have. The perfect body. The exotic vacation. The relationship goals. The success story. Your brain registers this as social comparison, and immediately, unconsciously, you feel lacking. That's step 1. Activate the wound. Step 2 is even more insidious. They offer you the solution. The product. The program. The ideology. The identity. And here's the trick, it never actually solves the problem. It can't. Because if it did, you'd stop coming back. So instead, it provides temporary relief followed by a new, deeper craving. It's not a solution. It's a subscription to your own emotional manipulation. And the most brilliant part? They've made you do the work for them. Every time you share that outrage post, you're spreading their emotional contagion. Every time you engage with that algorithm-optimized content, you're training the system to get better at controlling you. You've become both the victim and the weapon. The exploited and the exploiter. Right now, there are people who understand your psychology better than you do. They've run thousands of experiments on millions of people just like you. They know that nostalgia makes you click. That fear makes you share. That moral outrage makes you comment. And they're using that knowledge not to help you, but to extract value from you. Your emotions have become the product. And you're giving them away for free. Let me ask you something that's going to make you uncomfortable. How many of your opinions are actually yours? Not the ones you inherited from your parents or absorbed from your environment. I mean the beliefs you defend in an argument. The values you think define who you are. The causes that make you feel righteous and certain. What if most of them were implanted? There's a technique called emotional anchoring. It's devastatingly effective, and it's happening to you constantly. Here's how it works. They pair a neutral concept with a powerful emotion, over and over, until your brain automatically associates the two. Show you a political symbol next to images of violence enough times, and your amygdala will fire danger signals every time you see that symbol, even in a completely peaceful context. You think you're reasoning. You think you've logically arrived at your conclusions. But you haven't. You've been conditioned like Pavlov's dog, except instead of salivating at a bell, you're experiencing rage, fear, or devotion on command. And it gets worse. They've learned to trigger your protective instincts, the deepest, most primal part of your psychology. They tell you that something you love is under attack. Your freedom. Your children. Your way of life. Your identity itself. And suddenly you're not thinking anymore. You're in survival mode. Logic shuts down. Nuance disappears. You become tribal, defensive, and dangerously predictable. This is when they've got you exactly where they want you. Because a person in emotional survival mode will accept almost anything from whoever they perceive as being on their side. You'll ignore red flags. You'll excuse behaviors that would normally disgust you. You'll surrender your critical thinking in exchange for the comfort of belonging to the group that promises to protect you from the manufactured threat. Think about the last major decision you made while angry or afraid. That job you quit. That relationship you ended. That person you cut off. That belief system you adopted. Now think about how different your life would be if you'd made that decision from a place of calm, clarity, and emotional regulation. The gap between those two realities? That's the cost of emotional manipulation. But here's what nobody tells you. The manipulation doesn't come just from corporations and algorithms. It comes from people you know. People you trust. Because once someone learns these techniques, consciously or unconsciously, they use them. Your partner might guilt trip you by triggering your fear of abandonment. Your boss might exploit your need for approval to extract free labor. Your friends might manipulate your FOMO to control your choices. And you do it too. You've learned these patterns. You know which words hurt, which silence punishes, which tone gets compliance. We've all become amateur manipulators in a world that rewards emotional exploitation over authentic connection. The question isn't whether you're being manipulated. You are. Every single day. Multiple times an hour. The question is whether you're aware enough to catch it happening. Whether you can feel that moment when your emotions are being hijacked and pause long enough to ask, who benefits from me feeling this way right now? What am I being sold? What am I being distracted from? What decision am I about to make that I'll regret when I'm calm again? Because the moment you start asking those questions, you break the spell. And that terrifies them. There's a reason they want you emotional. A reason they need you reactive, divided, and constantly triggered. Because an emotional person doesn't ask questions. An emotional person doesn't think critically. An emotional person is easy to control, easy to predict, and most importantly, easy to monetize. But a calm person? A person who can sit with discomfort without immediately reacting. That person is dangerous. That person can't be sold fear. Can't be manipulated through outrage. Can't be controlled through emotional hijacking. And that's exactly what you need to become. Here's what they'll never tell you. The antidote to emotional manipulation isn't more information. It's not fact-checking or logic or winning arguments. It's space. Just a few seconds of space between stimulus and response. That's it. That's the gap where your power lives. When you feel that surge of anger, that spike of fear, that rush of moral certainty, that's your moment. Not to act. Not to share. Not to react. But to pause and ask, what am I feeling right now? Where's this feeling coming from? And who wants me to feel this way? Most people never ask those questions. They ride the emotional wave wherever it takes them, and then they wonder why their lives feel out of control. Why their relationships are chaos. Why they're anxious, exhausted, and constantly at war with themselves and everyone around them. But you're not most people. Not anymore. Because now you see the game. You see the strings. You see the puppet masters behind the curtain, and once you see them, they lose their power over you. This doesn't mean you become emotionless. Your emotions are beautiful, necessary, human. But they're supposed to be yours. They're supposed to inform you, not control you. They're supposed to be signals, not orders. The problem isn't feeling. The problem is being made to feel on command by people who profit from your reaction. So here's what you do. You reclaim your emotional sovereignty. You build that pause. You start noticing when you're being triggered instead of just being triggered. You ask yourself, is this emotion proportional to what's actually happening right now, or has it been amplified? You stop making decisions from anger, fear, or that desperate need for validation. And here's what happens when you do this. The noise starts to fade. The urgency that used to control you loses its grip. You start seeing manipulation attempts everywhere, in advertising, in conversations, in news cycles, in social dynamics. And instead of being a victim of them, you become immune to them. The people who profit from your emotional reactions will hate this. They'll call you apathetic, disconnected, cold. They'll try to shame you back into reactivity. Don't fall for it. Your calm is your rebellion. Your pause is your power. Your ability to feel without being controlled by those feelings is your freedom. Listen to me carefully. Everything that matters in your life, every relationship, every decision, every moment of peace or chaos, comes down to this one question. Who's in control of your emotions? Is it you, or is it everyone and everything around you that benefits from your reaction? Because right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can close this video and go right back to being played. Back to the scroll. Back to the triggers. Back to giving your emotional energy away to systems designed to extract it. Or you can decide that enough is enough. That your feelings, your attention, your inner peace are too valuable to be weaponized against you. This isn't just about protecting yourself. It's about breaking the cycle. Because every time you pause instead of react, every time you choose clarity over chaos, you're not just freeing yourself. You're showing everyone around you that there's another way to live. You become the calm in a world addicted to outrage. The signal in the noise. Your emotions are the most powerful force you possess. Don't let anyone play them against you ever again. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And subscribe, because we're just getting started exposing how your mind is being manipulated and, more importantly, how to take back control. The next video might be the one that changes everything. Don't miss it. Your move.